Hello, this is I Go Travel with Don Barnett, and this is about Saskatchewan. Have you ever been there? Have you ever traveled across that Trans-Canada Highway? Flat as a pancake. Most people, they can't get across fast enough. But that's because they don't know what they're missing. If they are too hot in the summer, maybe they should try the winter when the snow falls. The slippery roads ice up and temperatures can drop to minus 40 degrees. This video is about what you might not know about Saskatchewan, even if you live in it. What most people do know is that it has lots of dry prairie, big sky, and lots of horizon. This is what they mean by deep water in some parts of the province. That's the railway bed that runs across Saskatchewan up in the background there. And this is a deep water hole. Not so deep anymore. Quick, let's check your smarts. Of the three westernmost Canadian provinces, Alberta, BC, and Saskatchewan, which one has the most fresh water? Is it BC or Alberta or Saskatchewan? Fresh water. Come on, quick. Give me your answer. Here's the real answer. Of the three provinces, Saskatchewan has more than double the amount of fresh water than Alberta and British Columbia combined. Let's get oriented to Saskatchewan. This is roughly the shape of Saskatchewan. And the distance is on the highway that we were on, the Trans-Canada Highway, is about 650 kilometers from the eastern border with Manitoba over to the western side with Alberta. And the distance between the U.S. border in the south and the Northwest Territories border in the north is about 1,200 kilometers. So the province is roughly twice as long as it is wide. There are two main highways going across the province. The Yellowhead, number 16, goes through Saskatoon, and number 1, the Trans-Canada Highway, runs through the capital, Regina, closer to the American border. Saskatchewan is a large, diverse province. In the south are the plains, big sky and wide open country. But as you go north, it changes to more trees, mainly softwood trees like poplar, and it's called the parkland. And as you go further north, the parkland gives way to more spruce trees, heavy forests, the great Canadian boreal forest. And as you go even further north, the hard rock of the Canadian Shield, hard rock, big forests, many, many lakes. And it runs, the Canadian Shield runs over east as far as around Hudson Bay. And this is the Canadian Shield, and the reason why Saskatchewan has so much natural water compared to the other provinces of British Columbia or Alberta. In this video, we are going to stay around the southern part, around the plains. There's a lot of diversity in Saskatchewan, even in the wide open countryside called the grasslands. Did you know that only Saskatchewan and Alberta are landlocked provinces? There's no seacoast as there is in British Columbia, Manitoba, Ontario, Maritimes, elsewhere, where the boundaries are defined by natural features. But not so in Saskatchewan. It's landlocked, and all of the boundaries of Saskatchewan are defined by man-made parallels and meridians on paper maps. No natural geographic features define a boundary of Saskatchewan. Necessity is the mother of invention. And when you live out far from town, under the big sky, and something breaks down, you fix it, or it stays broken. And if you don't have it around, you make it. And that creates invention. And in Saskatchewan, there have been over 3,000 patented inventions until the 1950s or 60s, when the Patent Department of Canada, for some reason, stopped identifying the addresses of those who had applied for patents. Most of the inventions have been agricultural related, but not all. But some of the agricultural patents have been for rock pickers, combine headers, better cutting and feeding grain into the combine, rod weeders, attachments, plows, and threshing machines. They even invented a self-propelled swather, bigger and unique sprayers, even a snowplane, propeller driven, and it looked like an enclosed snowmobile, and they invented that in 1935. The rise of socialism, cooperative marketing boards, and government assistance in the economy occurred because of long distances and isolation. Since the real hard times seem behind us, private enterprise and entrepreneurship is strong across the province as well. Agriculture is the mainstay of the economy, but top non-agriculture exports are oil, uranium, and potash, forestry in the north, and coal mines in the south in the Estevan area are also significant contributors to jobs and industry. Everything in Saskatchewan is bigger than you think. Now here's a town named Bigger. But and it makes no bones about it with the sign on the outskirts of town. New York is big, but this is bigger. At one time, Saskatchewan advertised itself as the POW province, P-O-W, POW with a lot of strength and power. The P stands for potash, and Saskatchewan produces most of the world's potash, which is used mainly as a plant fertilizer across the world. There are several huge deep mines like this one in the province. The O stands for oil, and Saskatchewan has been second to Alberta in Canadian oil production. The W stands for wheat. Often you'll see these old threshing machines in the fields. The former harvesting with tractor and binder and the old threshing machine has been replaced with new hydraulic self-propelled machinery. I worked on a threshing crew on one of the last ones that did custom work from farm to farm. I will never forget the great big meals those farm wives made for us after a long day of work. It was the end of an era. These old workhorses are often seen rusting in fields and farmyards. The grain came out of the spout into a wagon, and the straw was blown out a larger blower that made a straw stack that often served as a shelter for cattle during the winter. Larger towns often sell a variety of machinery. Electricity, hydraulic power, and satellite guidance is the new way of farming. Satellites assess fields to see which areas in the field need more or less fertilizer and more or less amounts of chemical weed control. Modern farming is big business. Saskatchewan is farm country. The old staples of wheat, barley, and oats have been joined in recent years by a number of new crops. These new crops include things like canola, soybeans, peas, flax, and mustard. On the farm animal side, beef and pork are the main products. Saskatchewan is second to Alberta in the country for beef production. Chickens and turkeys are also main products. To a lesser degree, bees and honey
make up also Saskatchewan production.
Honey production occurs in the rich environment of the prairies, but beekeepers continually struggle against bee diseases largely caused by the extreme hot and cold temperatures of the prairie environment. Large trains with empty cars await the harvest. Farms store grain in these size of grain bins usually, then move it to those giant grain terminals where the trains transport it to world markets. This field has been cut or swathed and it's ready for the combine. And then we'll haul the grain away to the elevator. It is always enjoyable to see those big fields of golden, ripe grain. Farmers will often cut hay along the sides of the highways. This baler makes those big bales, and the front end loader lifts them up. Here's a self-propelled bale wagon for smaller rectangular bales that have been largely replaced by the big round bales. And here is one of the new field grain haulers. Farm machinery just seems to continue to get bigger and more efficient. As you can see, the prairies is not entirely flat as a tabletop. There's rolling hills and a lot of small sloughs and lakes, great for duck hunting in the fall. This is in the country between the Trans-Canada Highway and the U.S. border in the south. You can see there are, it's summertime and there's a lot of bugs.
I want to tell you about the wind. Wait, my cameraman up there is waving his arms like this. You're making a bunch of wind. What do you want? What? You should... I should clean the bugs off my windshield before I turn the camera on? Well, this is Saskatchewan. It's the great outdoors. Get used to it. The bugs are big, but you know, the mosquitoes are even bigger. Did you hear about those two mosquitoes looking at this camper? And the one mosquito says to the other one, "Let's kill them and eat them." The other mosquito says, "Good idea." So that's what they do. So they kill the fella, and he's laying on the ground. And the one mosquito says, "Let's take him down by the river. Nice place down there, and eat him down there." The other mosquito says, "No, no, no, no. Those big mosquitoes down by the river will take him from us and eat him themselves." So the mosquitoes are pretty big in Saskatchewan. You have to watch when you get on those little single-engine aircraft. You don't mistake one for a mosquito. You make a mistake and get on a mosquito instead of an airplane, they'll never hear of you again. One time I landed in Saskatchewan on an airplane, and I came down the ramp and a fella met me, and we're talking, and the bugs were thick as could be, and I was waving my hands and swatting at the bugs this side and that side, and the fella finally said to me, he said, "You know, quit waving and batting at those bugs, and then you won't notice them at all." So I quit. And you know, I never noticed another bug in Saskatchewan. Not until my cameraman started to point out the bugs on my windshield.
I had wanted to tell you about the wind and how it has taken its toll on the old farm buildings. You can see the remains of planted some trees that helped shelter the wind. Look how the wind has caused over the years these old farm buildings to lean, and they will eventually fall down. See those two metal round buildings, granaries on the left. The wind will sometimes tip them over, and they will roll long distances over barbed wire fences and hills, and the farmer will have to go find them. You often see lines of trees like these planted as a windbreak, and every farmstead will have trees planted around the house and outbuildings to get away from the wind in the yard. An isolated grove of tall trees usually means this was a farm site at one time.
Now here is a windy Saskatchewan idea for you.
Just south of Moose Jaw sits this ship designed to sail across the prairies. A settler in the 1930s with a big dream took 6 years to build the ship to sail across the windy prairies, across Canada, and eventually to his homeland in Finland. The ship never sailed, the guy died, and so did his dream. But he was a big thinker, and you can think big under the big sky. This province has a lot of variety, and this is just, we've tried to show you a little piece of it. But we've made more videos on Saskatchewan, and I've got a separate playlist for them. So until then, we're rolling on down the trail. This is I Go Travel with Don Barnett. If you want to see some of those other videos and hear the stories that we tell in them, just do what it says here. Google the little @ at Don Barnett 5090 and hit the word playlists in the middle of the page. And each playlist, like the one on Saskatchewan, has several travel videos in it.